Hello, thank you for joining me, Fiona Cincotta, here at StoneX. And today I have the pleasure of talking with Daniel Marburger, who is the Managing Director of Bullion at StoneX. Thank you so much for joining us, Daniel. So if you could just start by introducing yourself, telling us a bit about what you do here at StoneX, and then maybe we can talk about what's happening in the gold markets at the moment.
Perfect. Thank you very much for having me. So I'm managing the retail division of StoneX Bullion, meaning we're selling globally precious metals to investors. That includes gold, silver, platinum, and palladium in the form of gold bars, silver bars, but also coins.
When we're sort of looking at the outlook for 2025, then what do you see as sort of the main drivers for gold price, and how do you see it playing out across the year?
Obviously, we have quite a lot of geopolitical challenges. We still have inflation looming, not just in Europe, but also in the US. And we have certain potential wars that could happen anytime. And that's why I think the outlook for gold is very positive. If gold is about to go lower in price, I think that's a chance for investors. And wherever the gold price will be in a year's time, I think in terms of buying behavior, we'll have quite a good year.
Yeah, excellent. And the other question I have is to do with sort of central bank buying as well. I mean, I think from what I understand, central bank buying has been a big part of the drive up that we've seen across this year and previous years. In fact, is that something that you think would continue across the coming year?
Yeah, if you're looking at the history of the central bank buying, you can clearly see that they were sellers at times prior to the financial crisis and have been buyers since then, and has continued ever since. And as you said correctly, the amounts the central banks are buying and the speed they're buying at right now is, well, second to none, really. Probably this will continue going forward.
Yeah. And you mentioned at the beginning that you also look at silver as well as other precious metals. Do you see similar trends occurring in the silver price? Do you see sort of a positive outlook for silver across the coming year? Are you seeing sort of a sense of clients also buying the dip there?
That's a very interesting question. And I'd like to point it out with an example. So we have an exclusive product with the Royal Canadian Mint. It's a 2-ounce silver Canada Goose coin. That 2-ounce silver Canada Goose coin was first released 5 years ago, and we've sold it for around $17. Now, this year, 5 years later, we have released the second edition of it,
Mm.
and it's been sold at $30, $32 an ounce. So that's twice the price.
Yeah.
Within 5 years. And yes, there's huge potential for silver, especially with gold leading the way towards one high after the other, meaning silver as the little brother or the small sister, whatever you want to call it, has also great potential just to follow the lead of gold. And it already has, because as I said, the example with the Canada Goose is quite fascinating.
Yeah, that's a really good example though, isn't it? A great return over such a short amount of time. And I guess the way that silver moves though, it does tend to move quite quickly up, quite gradually up, and then it can fall quite quickly though. Someone's pointed it out to me as a sort of an elevator effect with the silver price.
Yeah, our analyst Rona O'Connell, she always says it's the devil. So silver is the little devil because price movements can be quite extreme. Yet
Yeah.
this year we've seen a continuous upwards trend, and whenever there was a dip in price, we've seen it spiking up straight after. So the elevator was always present, as he said. Yeah.
And I guess as far as outlook is concerned, what do you think was the biggest risk to the outlook to gold and silver prices over the coming year?
I think the biggest risks are, well, no more money printing,
Mhm.
no more inflation, no more wars. So these are the biggest risks for precious metal prices. And given the fact that we both know that these problems, I would say, will continue to follow us for another couple of years, maybe decades even, it, I would strongly say that gold has its place in
Yeah.
someone's portfolio.
Yeah. And just finally, talk to me a little bit about palladium. That's an area that I am not so up to speed on. There have been sort of any notable trend in the palladium market recently?
If I would ask you what's the most valuable precious metal, you would probably rank platinum and palladium first,
Yeah.
and then gold and then silver, which is wrong because platinum and palladium are ranked at around $1,000 only, and gold is 3 times the price. But that's all due marketing in the fashion industry, in the luxury industry. You have a platinum American Express card, and that's why the metal as such is kind of hyped. Yet
Mhm.
the value of it is just a third of what is there for gold, and the investor market for platinum palladium is rather small. So I would
Mhm.
say that's around 5% of our business is platinum palladium, which is,
Yeah.
yeah, as I said, insignificant. Yet there are customers that are looking for um, a diversification within the precious metals industry, within those 4 metals they can choose from. And
Mhm.
some go into platinum, some go into palladium. Palladium has been at $3,000 a couple of years ago. Now it's at around 1,000. So
Mhm.
there might be an upside potential, but those 2 metals, platinum and palladium, are more for industrial demand rather than for private investors.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. No, brilliant. And so you did touch on very quickly that there have been several new products as well that
You,
you've been bringing out this year at the turn of the year. Yeah, just remind us what those products are.
So best-selling product, the gold maple leaf, has just launched 2025, same in silver. The design usually stays the same. The only product that changes its design every year is the kangaroo. So that has undergone a change, and the Chinese panda, which has just been released. So yeah, as I said previously in the interview, every week there's a new coin coming out, and investors can, or also collectors can, continue their collection or complete their collection, which, yeah, just drives demand to our web shop.
Is there anything that you feel that we should have talked about that we didn't cover?
Yeah, I think we should definitely go back to the crypto cycle. So as I said, now it's risk on.
Yeah.
And maybe as an investor, I should watch where the crypto space is going and when it's time to go risk off again. So I would emphasize just to watch the digital space and be aware that there's at some point a way back to the non-digital way, which is physical gold bars and coins.
So do you think there is this idea that you tend to be in one rather than the other, whereas there's this rotation out of gold and into Bitcoin, out of Bitcoin or into gold? Or do you think sort of often you'll see your clients actually running up with both at the same time?
I think they complement each other. So we definitely have gold and crypto being like one investment vehicle. And the only difference is one you can hold, the other one, well, you can also hold, but just digital,
Basically.
which gives
Yeah.
gold a bit more shine and glamour.
Eh? Oh, that's good. It's very true. Yeah, it's a really interesting one. I've been watching crypto super closely as well, especially that sort of that relationship that we've seen between crypto and gold. Because also I think what's interesting is gold is often seen as that safe haven, whereas I don't see Bitcoin as a safe haven. I see it as a risk asset. So that's why I find it interesting that we do sometimes see that sort of idea of Bitcoin and gold sometimes being against each other. But in that circumstance, I just think you need to see them both as safe havens. Where do you see Bitcoin in that sense? Do you see it as a safe haven? Do you see it as a risk asset? Or does it not really matter because they go hand in hand anyway?
To be honest, for our customers, also Bitcoin is some kind of safe haven. And due to the fact that it's an asset that is not endless, similar to gold, we have, as I said, a similar situation here. Yet, if Bitcoin fails to deliver, people will go into meme coins and try to get higher returns, and even more risk is involved. So yes, it's a risky and highly volatile asset that has been on the market probably for 15 years now, I think. Whereas gold has been there forever and has a proven track record over, I don't know, 3,000, 5,000 years. And that's, I think, what needs to be, that story has to be told, what Bitcoin has in store for us over the next 1,000 years or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, completely. No, excellent. Thank you so much for your time today, Daniel. You've offered us some really interesting insights into gold, silver, platinum, palladium, and Bitcoin. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.